Welcome back to Keep It Real Boxing. This is Cypherbox. So, it was announced today at a press conference that Dillian Whyte will be fighting Joseph Parker on July 28th. Doesn't look like the fight with Pulev is definitely not going to happen, and we're not going to get what we saw from Dan Rafael yesterday, where he put out a article where he stated that he heard a rumor that Dillian Whyte was going to fight Luis King Kong Ortiz. So that fight's not going to happen either. It looks like it's Joseph Parker. Joseph Parker looking to come back after his defeat to Anthony Joshua in their unification fight, where he lost his WBO heavyweight title. Now, what do I think of the fight? Look, it is a good fight. Definitely, I like Joseph Parker. He's a good fighter. Dillian, I've always said that, he is a good fighter as well. Hopefully it'll be an entertaining fight. It's going to be pay-per-view, from what I understand. So Sky Box Office, you'll be paying the usual $16.95 or whatever it is for it. Good fight. Both guys, they are fit. They keep themselves in good shape, good conditioning. We saw that with Joseph Parker against Anthony Joshua. Did show, pretty good conditioning in there against AJ. Dillian Whyte, we know he trains all year round. So, it should be a competitive fight, a good fight, and hopefully plenty of entertainment in it. However, there are a few things I probably want to talk about in terms of this fight being made, why this fight's probably been made. Saw an interview with IFL TV, Kugan Cassius. So Dillian Whyte basically said that the reason the fight wasn't happening with Pulev is because Pulev's team wanted to make the fight for late August, early September. Dillian Whyte turned around and said that he wanted to fight in July and then fight in September again. So he wasn't willing to wait around that long to have his fight against Pulev. And for the fact that Pulev likes to mess around and play games in the sense of pulling out fights and stuff like that, all the antics that come with Pulev. So that was one of the reasons why Dillian Whyte said he didn't want to go that way in terms of the IBF eliminator with Kubrat Pulev. Fine, fair enough. There's some points that I want to talk about in terms of what Kugan Cassius said as well to Dillian Whyte. So Kugan Cassius turned around and said to Dillian Whyte that he was surprised it was a pay-per-view. And to be fair, even I'm a little bit surprised that it's a pay-per-view. But if Eddie Hearn thinks he can turn it into a pay-per-view and make a lot of money out of it, fair play. He knows his numbers, as he always says. So, do you know what I mean? But I was surprised. I thought it'd be, on normal Sky Sports, not on Sky Sports box office. But obviously, Dillian Whyte wasn't happy about that. He was kind of upset, and he told Kugan, "Stop hating. Why you gotta hate? Why are you hating for?" And one of Kugan's replies to that during the course of the video was, "You know what? Why is it if you're not sucking someone off, you're hating on them?" Which I totally agree with, because I get so many fanboys and casual fans jumping on my videos when I state my opinion about something, and start calling me a hater because I'm not, kissing their favorite fighter's ass or their favorite promoter's ass. And I give my opinion based on facts and stats, and I have to agree with Kugan Cassius on that one. It's actually the first time I've actually heard Kugan Cassius say something like that, along the lines of that, to a fighter, which is the truest thing in boxing right now, is that there is I suppose in a sense, a disease in boxing, which is fanboyism. And whenever you talk about a certain particular fighter, or any fighter to be honest with you, and you critique that fighter, or you point things out where they're playing political games, or they're avoiding a fighter, or you know what I mean, suddenly you're a hater, which isn't a case at all. You're taking the facts, you're reading into them, you're putting one and one together and coming up with two. But anyway, Dillian Whyte got a little bit upset about that. Then along came Eddie Hearn into the interview, and Eddie Hearn turned around and said that he was asked, so is Dillian now being pulled out of the IBF eliminator? And Eddie said yes. He basically said that he wrote to the IBF thanking them for the opportunity, but we were not comfortable with the 75-25 split, and the fact that Epic Sports won the purse bid. Now, when it comes to these final eliminators and mandatory title fights, the governing body will dictate the purse split. So, and usually that is it. It's usually around 70. Some governing boards will do 70-30, and some will do 75-25. Now, in this situation, because Pulev is ranked higher in the IBF heavyweight rankings than Dillian Whyte, Pulev gets the lion's share, and Dillian Whyte gets the smaller share of the purse split. So they weren't happy with that, and they weren't happy with the fact that Epic Sports had the control of the fight. Now, he also went on to say that it's my job to ensure that that I protect my client's interest and make sure we go into the fight comfortable and secure. All right. Here's my thoughts on what Eddie Hearn had to say about the 75-25 split that was agreed by the IBF for the Pulev fight between Dillian Whyte and Pulev. Now that meant, because, like I said, because Pulev is ranked higher than Dillian Whyte in the IBF rankings, Pulev would have got to 25% and Dillian Whyte gets to 25%. Okay? Which is standard. That is the rule. It's always the case. Yeah? When it comes to final eliminators, it's always the fighter who is ranked highest gets the higher percentage or the lion's share. Right? Same as, in a mandatory title fight, the champion always gets the lion's share and the challenger gets a smaller share. Okay? There's no point crying and moaning about it. Those are the rules. Eddie Hearn knows that. Okay? Even if they'd won the purse bid, that still would have been the split. Okay? The real reason I think it is, and here it is, he turned around and said that they weren't happy with Epic Sports winning the purse bid, that they had control of the fight. The real reason he means here is, in my opinion, is that because, like I just said to you, even if Eddie Hearn had won the purse bid, the fight would have taken place obviously in the UK. Yeah? But the percentage split would have still been the same. So you can't say you're not happy with it, because if you'd won the purse bid, you would have brought him over to the UK. Does that make sense? What really is bothering Eddie Hearn and Dillian Whyte is that the fight, they don't have control of the fight, and it's not going to happen in the UK. Basically, you're scared to go to Bulgaria to fight Pulev, yeah, because you're worried that you're not going to get home field advantage. The judges may favour him, the refereeing, all that sort of stuff, which is quite surprising for me because, how many times have you heard Dillian Whyte say, "I'll go anywhere, any place in the world to fight anyone. I'm not scared of no one. I'm not scared of anything." But yet you're not willing to go to Bulgaria to fight Pulev. Anyway, look, that fight's not great anyway. Yeah, I said that in my last video. I didn't really like the Pulev fight, but that's just my point on that whole situation. I just think it's a whole load of rubbish that Eddie Hearn and Dillian Whyte are coming up with. So why wouldn't you make the fight with Luis Ortiz? You're itching to get at Deontay Wilder. Okay? Now, if you fight Luis Ortiz, you become the second mandatory challenger to the WBC heavyweight title. Alright? Not only that, a couple of months ago, Deontay Wilder made an offer to you. He said it on the Boxing Voice. Yeah? I'll even link the article who used that quote to write up an article on Deontay Wilder's offer, which was, if you fight and beat Luis Ortiz, this was Deontay Wilder saying this, if you fight and beat Luis Ortiz, I'll give you a shot at the title. But for some reason, you still didn't take him up. You didn't take him up on that offer. Why? Because, not be funny, if he turned around and said, if you fought Luis Ortiz and beat him, and he turned around and Deontay Wilder turned around and said, "Hey, I'm not giving you a shot." Do you know what I mean? Even I would call Deontay Wilder out on that and say, "What the hell? Like, duck." Even I would. So instead of fighting Luis Ortiz and putting yourself in a position to fight Deontay Wilder for his title, you've decided to go with Joseph Parker. Which I don't understand the move. Okay? Because I'm guessing they're going to be fighting for... Eddie Hearn said it himself, that, this could be treated as a final eliminator for the WBO. Now, not be funny, if don't get me wrong, I understand from Joseph Parker's point of view why this would be good for him if it's a final eliminator for the WBO, because it means if he wins, he gets a shot at Anthony Joshua again. But for Dillian Whyte, if he wants a shot at Anthony Joshua, all he has to do is talk to his promoter. Anthony Joshua, how many times have you heard Anthony Joshua saying he wants to fight Dillian Whyte again? How many times have you heard Dillian Whyte saying he wants to fight Anthony Joshua again? I remember even seeing the IFL TV video where, I can't remember what fight it was, but Dillian Whyte, I think it was at the Isaac Okoli and Chamberlain fight, and Dillian Whyte walked up to Anthony Joshua, shook his hand, and I think they shook hands or something like that, and he said, look, get through your fight with Parker, good luck with that, and then we'll talk. Meaning, we'll talk about a fight. Do you know what I mean? So, he doesn't need to go through all these routes, Dillian Whyte, to get to Anthony Joshua, is my point. He could have Anthony Joshua next if he wanted to. You could either pay Alexander Povetkin step-aside money, and they can make, Joshua versus Whyte in September if they wanted to. They have the same promoter. They both said they want to fight each other again in a rematch. So you don't need to go through all these lengths with the WBO and IBF to get to Anthony Joshua. You've got a promoter who can open the door up for you straight away. But what you do want to do is put yourself in a position which gives you a shot to Deontay Wilder. And that route is through Luis King Kong Ortiz. Now, at the same time, I've had this feeling for a long time that Dillian Whyte doesn't want anything to do with Luis King Kong Ortiz. He doesn't want to fight Luis King Kong Ortiz. I said this before in about 2-3 videos ago, I think. In my last video, I said this Luis Ortiz would be a great fight for Dillian Whyte because he is one of the most feared heavyweights out there. Even after he's lost to Deontay Wilder, he still looked good in that fight. He was winning that fight on points in a lot of people's eyes. I think just before the knockdown, I think Deontay Wilder, with all his knockdowns of Luis Ortiz, he can't kind of even things up on the scorecards a little bit. But it was a close fight. Luis Ortiz was winning most of the rounds in that fight. So he is a dangerous fighter. He's a top heavyweight. He's one of the top heavyweights in the world. If you went and beat him, knocked him out, like you said you were going to do, then, do you know what I mean? It raises your profile, but not only that, it gives you a shot at Deontay Wilder. This is why I don't understand all these moves. Why are you fighting this person, etc.? And I'm actually going to get to that because Kugan Cassidy actually asked this question to Dillian Whyte. But it was really funny because Eddie Hearn turned around and said when it came to Luis King Kong Ortiz, we were looking at Ortiz, but the deal with Parker happened in the last 48 hours. Bullshit. That deal didn't happen in the last 48 hours. They've been working on that deal behind the scenes for probably a week or two. And this is why I say Eddie Hearn's a good promoter, because Eddie Hearn doesn't just set up one option, he'll set up 2 or 3 different options. Yeah, so while he's working on the Pulev fight or trying to get a purse bid, and then potentially thinking, well, we might, Luis Ortiz is there, but we don't really want that. At the same time, right, what can we do to not have the Pulev fight? Because we don't want to go to Bulgaria. We definitely don't want to fight Luis Ortiz. So if we do pick an opponent, we need to pick a credible opponent. So people don't start saying, oh my God, he's ducking Luis Ortiz. And he's afraid to go to Bulgaria to fight Pulev. Oh, I know, let's set up a fight with Joseph Parker. And we could try and make it a WBO eliminator fight. Just to sweeten it up for Joseph Parker as well. Do you get what I'm trying to say here? Eddie Hearn's a very shrewd businessman. Like, as much as I call him out and criticise him over the whole Anthony Joshua and Wilder thing, he is a very good promoter. He knows what he's doing, in that sense. Sometimes he even plays like he's dumb, or he tries to play us as we're dumb and we're stupid and we don't know what we're talking about, or we don't know enough about the sport. But do you know what I mean? He is a very smart promoter. Very clever in the way he does things. He never ever just works on one sole thing. He will look at other options as well. Make sure other options are available to you. And there's no way that fight was made in 48 hours. You know, setting up the terms and conditions, the split on the fight, etc. Look how long, do you know what I mean? Look, I mean, end of the day, you would have to get both teams' lawyers to look through the contract, sign it off, and then you give it to the fighter. The fighter's got to read through it, be happy with it, and sign it off as well. There's no way you did all of that in 48 hours. I don't believe it for 1 minute. So, like I said, I was going to get back to Kugan Cassius and what Kugan Cassius was asking Dillian Whyte. I said that a minute ago. So, this is what Kugan Cassius said to Dillian Whyte. He asked, if you beat Ortiz or Pulev, you're in line for a title shot. So, why fight this man and that man, etc.? Because a lot of people out there are going to say this, right? And Whyte's answer to that was, sometimes in life, some guys will take a harder route than other guys. That's the way it goes. Alright. You've been itching for Deontay Wilder for over a year. For about a year now, or whatever it's been. He's been screaming Deontay Wilder's name. He wants to take Deontay Wilder out. He's bum squad, and I'll do this and I'll do that to him, etc. Whatever. Yeah? We all know that. That's the fight he's been wanting for about a good year now. Right? Here's an opportunity for you to get that fight by fighting Luis King Kong Ortiz. You know, Deontay Wilder even gave you an offer. I talked about that earlier on, saying that if you fight Ortiz and beat Ortiz, I'll give you a title shot. Basically saying that you don't have to wait for a mandatory shot, I'll give you a shot. So, you're willing to fight Joseph Parker to put yourself in a position to become a WBO mandatory challenger to Anthony Joshua. When you don't need to do that, you've got routes. You've got a clear way for Anthony Joshua. Your promoter can do that. You don't need to go through title eliminators or any of that sort of stuff. Joshua wants to fight you. You want to fight Joshua. Your promoter wants you two to fight again. You all want to fight. You all want that fight to happen. You've got the same promoter, so that fight can be made with Anthony Joshua without putting yourself in a mandatory title position. But for the last year, you've been banging on about Deontay Wilder. And Deontay Wilder's made an offer to you. He made an offer to you a couple of months ago and said, fight Ortiz, beat Ortiz, and I'll give you a title shot. So if you're going to do it the hard way, like you said, oh, some guys like to do it harder, then go, why were you complaining about fighting Luis Ortiz? Why were you crying about, oh, I'm not the first mandatory challenger, but I'm #1 ranked? Do you get where I'm coming from again? If you like taking the hard route, then go for Luis Ortiz, become the second mandatory challenger, yeah, and fight Deontay Wilder when the time comes. If he's still the WBC champion at that time, of course. Or, you should have taken Deontay Wilder's offer up, which was fight Ortiz, beat Ortiz, I'll give you a title shot. See what I mean? So, going through Joseph Parker isn't the harder route. He's picked, in my opinion, he's picked, out of Ortiz and Joseph Parker, I think Joseph Parker's the easier fight. He doesn't possess the skill sets that Luis Ortiz has. Luis Ortiz has a rich amateur Cuban background. He has strong boxing fundamentals. He's dangerous. He has speed. He has power. Yeah, knockout power as well. You didn't want the fight with Luis Ortiz. That's it, simple as that. So you've gone through an easier route, which you're trying to make it look like it's a harder route with Joseph Parker. A route you really don't need to take, because you know at any day, any time, any place, you can get your promoter, Eddie Hearn, to make a fight with Anthony Joshua, a world title fight. Right? You see what I'm trying to say? It's all to just stay face and look good. And he wants someone like Joseph Parker there, because then he can say, look, I've got someone on my record finally. But in actual fact, what you need is Luis Ortiz on your record, mate. Okay, so let me give you an example, right? Do you remember when Joseph Parker fought Andy Ruiz for the vacant WBO title, heavyweight title? Dillian Whyte was in the Sky Sports studio that night with Johnny Nelson. They were the pundits, the commentators, whatever you want to call them, yeah? The pundits, sorry. And then when Parker got the decision, which was a split decision, Dillian Whyte gave his opinion on Joseph Parker. Oh, he's a terrible fighter. He's absolutely, oh no, he's awful. He's terrible. You know, I'd knock him out in, I think he said like 3 rounds. You know, he'd be an easy fight for him. I'd destroy him. You know, he's terrible. There's so many things he does that are wrong that I would capitalize on. You know, he's a terrible fighter. But now suddenly he's a good fighter. Which is it? Do you know what I mean? So why are you going for this terrible fighter and a guy who you said was the worst world champion out there, the worst heavyweight world champion out there at this moment in time, you know, and it would be an easy fight for you? Why, if it's a harder route, you're saying that, you know, some guys take a harder route and you're that guy. Why are you fighting Joseph Parker, a guy who you said when he won the WBO title was terrible and an easy fight for you, and you would destroy him? Why are you not taking the Luis Ortiz fight? Because you don't want that fight, man. Do you know what I mean? Like I said, I'm one of these channels. I don't have favourite fighters. But when I smell bullshit and I see bullshit, I call it. And this is absolute bullshit from Dillian Whyte and Eddie Hearn. Especially Dillian. I'm disappointed in Dillian Whyte because you know, when Dillian Whyte was first coming up and stuff like that, I thought Dillian Whyte was the real deal. But even he plays these games, mate. Again, you're not conning me. I've been watching this sport too long, man. There's people out there, you know, who are going to criticize me for what I'm saying in this video, but I don't care. I've seen these tricks so many times, these games that get played, and then how they try and manipulate the general public. Like I said, Whyte versus Parker, it's a good fight. But Whyte versus Ortiz, that's an awesome fight. That's a great fight. And that is a real test for Dillian Whyte. But he don't want that test. He don't want nothing to do with Luis Ortiz. And in my opinion, he's ducked Luis Ortiz. That's it. That's how I'm going to see it. That's how I see it. And the only way he's going to prove me wrong is by taking a fight with Luis Ortiz and showing me what he's worth. Because I personally think he'd probably beat Joseph Parker. Dillian Whyte. I think he's definitely thought in his head that I could beat this guy. This guy's terrible. I know he's terrible. I've said it before. I'm going to easily beat this guy and that will make me look really good. But I don't want none of a Luis Ortiz. No, man. I'm not messing with that dude. Anyway, look, that's just my opinion on it. I think I've said more than enough about all of this now. Yeah, it's a good fight. A lot of people are going to think, oh, what? You know, you're just shitting on the fight. I'm not shitting on the fight. It is a good fight. Dillian Whyte versus Joseph Parker is a good fight. I will watch it, no doubt. But Dillian Whyte versus Luis Ortiz is a great fight. There's a difference. It's a great fight against Ortiz. And if you win that great fight, you put yourself in a position in the heavyweight rankings, yeah, that where no one can deny you your status. That's just my opinion. Anyway, guys, as always, like, share, and subscribe. Until next time, this is Cypherbox reminding you to keep it real.